Guys, 9 Volt here. Today I'm going to be bringing you coverage of my 4-in-1 Forest Practice Cup with the Double G Ranch Discord server. My team, I'm rocking Breloom, my favorite Pokemon, Ampharos as my anti-Mantine Pokemon with that Focus Blast to hit on that Fortress, Whiscash for those anti-fires with those the Blazigans, the Sunny Castforms, as well as it has that Blizzard to throw out grasses and fires. Ferrothorn, I am running Bullet Seed with Power Whip and Flash Cannon. Flash Cannon gives it a good neutral option to throw at flyers or other grasses. And obviously Power Whip is just a good move with Stab on it. Sunny Castform, I'm running Ember Weather Ball. I only have it single moved at the moment. I'm still saving up dust for that second move. And my Mantine, I'm running Aerial Ace, Double Beam. As you can see, my round 1 opponent here is Mikansala. He is a challenger, and he's running Jumpluff, Credilli, Sunny Castform, Mantine, Escavalier, and Stunfisk. So looking at this here, I lead off Whiscash because of its positive matchups against Sunny Castform, Stunfisk, Escavalier, and it can throw Blizzards at Jumpluff and Mantine. So I do catch the Stunfisk lead, which is very good for me. I'm hitting it for super effective with the Mud Shots and Mud Bombs. He switches into Escavalier, which is not a great Whiscash counter, but I have the Breloom for it. It'll deal neutral with these counters because that bug typing of the Escavalier does resist it. But I want to throw the Seed Bomb. I have plenty of energy left, even with the Seed Bomb thrown, and hoping whatever comes out I can get to a charge move on. It is Jumpluff, and I go for this Dynamic Punch. It's only single resisted, whereas Seed Bomb would be double resisted. It could farm me the whole way down, but thankfully it does throw this Aerial Ace, which means that I will not have a problem, as it has no more energy left. This Ferrothorn could come in. It'll resist most of the moves here. He does swap Stunfisk in, hoping to catch a Flash Cannon, but he does not, and I do get Whiscash. I do get Stunfisk locked in against my Whiscash here. These Mud Bombs against Whiscash will hit neutral, but my Mud Bombs will hit super effective. I want to keep this Whiscash far away from this Jumpluff. It does have that Energy Ball, which would easily one-shot Whiscash without a care. But now with all this extra energy, I'm able to get to a Blizzard against the Jumpluff. He thinks that this is just a Mud Bomb, and he decides not to shield, but thankfully I was able to get to this Blizzard, and that is the end of Game 1. Going into Game 2, I'm going to lead Sunny Castform, and he leads Credilli, which is a positive matchup for Credilli because it does have that Stone Edge, so I look to switch out here. Unfortunately, at the time, I completely forgot about Credilli's grass typing, and so I made the dumb choice to switch into Whiscash, which I realized as soon as I switched in that this is bad because Credilli has Grass Knot. The proper course of action there would have been to switch to Ferrothorn, but now I'm going to try to double shield this Whiscash, and I hope to get 2 shields back from this, or else this matchup is going to look really bad for me. Thankfully, just before he gets to his next Grass Knot, I am able to throw this Mud Bomb. He would do well to farm up a lot of energy, but thankfully he throws the Grass Knot only after a couple Bullet Seeds. And now I will bring in this Ferrothorn, which will resist all of Credilli's moves. It will double resist the 2 grass moves with the fast move and Grass Knot, and it'll single resist Stone Edge. He brings out the Sunny Castform, which would destroy Ferrothorn, but I bring in my own Sunny Castform, which already has some energy from the beginning whenever it was locked in against Credilli, or whenever it led against Credilli. So I should be able to win out this matchup because of that more energy. However, I want to get this Castform as low as possible because I don't want to give the Credilli or whatever else is in the back any room to farm. He throws this last Weather Ball, which will get me pretty low. And he's going to immediately swap back into Credilli to try to farm me down. I do get 1 Weather Ball off on it, but it doesn't matter because he's able to throw a charge move, which will knock me out. He goes for the Stone Edge as opposed to the Grass Knot, which is fine. It does super effective damage, but I think he would have been okay to just hit the Grass Knot there. Regardless, it doesn't matter. I'm going to come back in with Ferrothorn, and I have no choice here but to Bullet Seed this thing the whole way down. If I throw all my energy, I would definitely lose this matchup, which I'm barely able to do. I believe he was very close to hitting another Grass Knot or Stone Edge. And it's Mantine in the back, which is bad for me. I can hit it with 2 Power Whips, but he still has the Sunny Cast Form in the back, which will be able to just come in and fast move me down. Yeah, game 2 unfortunately lost due to that really bad error that I made in switching at the beginning there. Going to a decisive game 3, I decided to lead Breloom. It has positive matchups against Credilli, Escavalier, and Stunfisk. And thankfully I do catch the Stunfisk lead, which is very good for me because Breloom will resist all of Stunfisk's moves. A lot of lag there, but it seemed like it was equal on both sides, so neither of us had a problem with it, decided to continue. He swaps into Jumpluff, and I'm going to swap into Ferrothorn, which is a winning matchup for Ferrothorn, and in addition, I'm able to keep my Whiscash away from that scary energy ball. I'm being hit with neutral from these aerial aces, and this Flash Cannon will be neutral as well. Both of us double resist the Bullet Seed fast move, but it's not really a damage dealing move anyway, so it doesn't have too much effect on this. Hoping to get to another Flash Cannon here. He throws one more aerial ace, and I believe he dips out of here. No, I'm able to hit this Flash Cannon, which will take out this Jumpluff. He brings in this Sunny Cast Form, which is absolutely going to farm me the whole way down. But I do have the Whiscash here. The only thing I have to watch out for is the Solar Beam. Makes a swap into Stunfisk to catch this Mud Bomb. I don't know if I agree with that, because Stunfisk is not going to like that Mud Bomb very much, and I have no problem letting the Stunfisk throw moves in my Breloom. The more hurt the Stunfisk can put on my Breloom, the less opportunity for farming that Sunny Cast Form has, and I do not want it to get to a Solar Beam against my Whiscash. That would be very bad. I'm able to counter this down, and I immediately throw the Dynamic Punch. I know I can get 2, which would hopefully get both shields. He thinks that it's a Seed Bomb, decides not to shield at all, and because of that, Whiscash is going to be able to farm down. He tries to throw the beam at me, but I have 2 shields left, and I will happily use one there and farm it the rest of the way down. Round 1, good game to my opponent. Round 2 is going to be against Manaholics. He is an ace trainer, and he was the highest ranked player in the tournament. As you can see here, his team is Mantine, Blaziken, Whiscash, Galvantula, Ferrothorn, and Heracross. I do lead Breloom. My goal in this tournament was just to use Breloom as much as possible, kind of give it a stress test for the Force Cup, see what it can do. I used it in almost every game this entire tournament, and a lot of time in the lead. It would catch opponents off guard because they didn't expect it. So as I lead here, it goes in against Galvantula. They get to the Discharge and the Seed Bomb at the exact same time, but Breloom does win CMP in this matchup. Breloom has positive matchups against Whiscash, Galvantula, and Ferrothorn on his team, and I was hoping to catch one of them in the lead, and thankfully I do. So we'll see how this plays out here. Both hitting for resisted damage here. His Bug typing does resist that counter, whereas my Grass typing does resist that Volt Switch. And as you'll see there, we do CMP tie. But I do win that CMP tie because Breloom is a hugely attack-weighted Pokemon. So yeah, we'll see if he wants to bother shielding this. If he doesn't shield this, then I will win switch advantage, but he wants to maintain that switch advantage just as badly as I do. At this point, he should have known that Breloom is going to be able to win out switch advantage and maybe switched out into something he had in the back. I'm able to farm the whole way down, and I'm one counter away from getting this Dynamic Punch, which is going to absolutely one-shot this Blaziken. Now, I'm not sure why he didn't bring the Mantine in. I might have been able to get to 2 Seed Bombs against it, which would have been bad for it. Regardless, I now have my Ferrothorn and my own Mantine in the back against his Mantine, which is not very good for him. My plan here was to let the Mantine hit 2 Bubble Beams on my Ferrothorn, and then reset the attack debuff by switching out into my own Mantine, which I do there. So now Ferrothorn has plenty of energy in the back should it need it, and it's going to be a Mantine one-on-one. This is going to be a matchup that you're going to see a lot, Mantine versus Mantine, and unfortunately it is a slow slugfest of resisted damage. These bubble beams are going to be resisted. The flying type moves are neutral, but Mantine is just such a tanky Pokemon that does so little actual damage. Its main gimmick is the bubble beam, which deals not very effective on the other Mantine, but it does have that one stage attack debuff, which can be helpful. I wasn't too worried about debuffing the Mantine's attack because I knew I had plenty of energy to deal with it on my Ferrothorn in the back, but he does let it go down there. Game 2, I'm going to lead Mantine. I figured that at this point he would be scared of the Breloom because it did so much damage to him in the lead. So things on his team that would beat my Breloom are his Mantine, his Blaziken, or his Heracross. And for those three, Mantine is a pretty solid counter to all of them. So game 2, I decided to lead Mantine. And you'll see here that works out for me very well, as he does lead Blaziken as I expected. Now, Blaziken, with these Elite TMs coming out, can now learn Stone Edge, which it has not had for a long time. But I don't believe that he's running it because he does switch out there. In this scenario, I could have switched out into Whiscash, but that's still a losing matchup for Whiscash if it can't land the Blizzard, if the Mantine's able to correctly shield. But I know that with that Blaziken in the back, I will have my Whiscash that'll be able to counter it. So at this point, I'm not very worried about it, and I'm going to leave my Mantine in this scenario. I'm up on energy, but I'm down a lot of health. Thankfully, I'm able to get to this Bubble Beam first, so I can go ahead and start debuffing its attack so it'll do less damage to me. There's not much to say about this matchup. These two are just going to slowly reduce each other's attack to nothing, whittle away at each other. Yeah, so at this point, I know I have my Breloom in the back, which does not want to deal with his Blaziken or his Mantine. So I do want to maintain switch advantage, which is going to be very important. Even if I need to waste shields on something as trivial as a Bubble Beam to keep it, I definitely will. And my opponent, I believe, feels the same way because he does not want, or he wants to get that Blaziken on something better than this Whiscash, or than on this Mantine. So you'll see here, we both want to keep switch advantage. I'm going to throw this Bubble Beam, which would take out the opposing Mantine, but he does decide to shield, which forces me to take a shield at the same time. And this was kind of surprising. He actually throws an Ice Beam at me, which certainly would have taken me out. Thankfully, now I am able to get to another Bubble Beam. I won back switch advantage, so this Ferrothorn's attack is going to be debuffed, and he doesn't want to get hit by a second Bubble Beam and have a very low debuffed attack. He is able to farm me down, though, before I'm able to get to it. I was curious how much this Breloom was going to take from the Power Whip, so I let it hit me. He brings in this Blaziken, and thankfully, he tapped the charge move as soon as he did, and I was able to catch it, and it is a Blaze Kick. That Blaze Kick would have taken out the Breloom, but you'll see, with that resisted damage against the Whiscash, it is going to do not much at all, and I will be able to farm the whole way down. I wanted my Whiscash to be very low because I don't want to give this Ferrothorn any room to farm. I want my Breloom to be able to farm it the whole way down. And I'm able to get to the Blizzard, which is very nice. It forces him to shield. And now I'm just a few counters away from this Dynamic Punch. We do CMP tie there, so I will end up winning with the shield because Breloom will win CMP ties against just about everything. So good game there. Game 3 against him, we had lag errors. I was lagging a lot in game 3, so I just decided to forfeit, let him take game 3. I had already won the first 2, so it wasn't a big deal. In round 3, I'm playing against Catch the Rye, who was actually the one that created this tournament, so thank you very much to him. He was an ace, and he was a third highest ranked player in this tournament. He's running Mantine, Ferrothorn, Ampharos, Whiscash, Vespiquen, and Blaziken. I decided to lead Breloom. It has positive matchups against the Ferrothorn, the Ampharos, the Whiscash, and with Blaziken in the lead, they actually go neutral, and counter for counter, they will kill each other at the exact same time. Thankfully, I do catch this positive lead matchup in Ferrothorn. I'm kind of worried about his Vespiquen against my team. I have the Sunny Castform or the Mantine or the Ampharos for it, but bringing those against the rest of his team isn't super great. My Sunny Castform will only beat the Ferrothorn on his team. So his Vespiquen is something that I'm scared of. I don't have much experience with it or know how hard it hits. So you'll see game 1 here, I do catch the lead scenario. Get a couple counters off, and he switches right into Mantine. Thankfully, I do have the Ampharos right there, ready to take it on. Mantine is double weak to the electric typing with that water flying typing, and Ampharos can win in the 0-2 shield scenario. It doesn't care. It's just going to Volt Switch the whole way down. Ferrothorn comes back in, and I want to hit this Focus Blast. It'll be super effective, but he does throw the shield there. I'm fine letting this Ampharos go down. It's done its job. It killed the Mantine. Got a shield. Done more than I could have asked of it. I bring the Breloom in now, which can just counter it the whole way down, shield one time, and beat it down, and then have plenty of energy for what's in the back. However, he does switch out here into the Blaziken. I tap both charge moves. I meant to hit the Seed Bomb, but ended up tapping it at Dynamic Punch first by accident. I knew that was going to get a shield no matter what, so I wanted to hit the Seed Bomb since it was lower energy. However, still able to get to 2 Dynamic Punches. Breloom's able to take out that Blaziken and then farm down the Ferrothorn. Game 2, I'm going to lead Mantine. Just because I was hoping to catch the Vespiquen or the Blaziken that would counter that Breloom lead that I had in the beginning. However, he does lead Ferrothorn. And he safe switches into Mantine, which is not a good idea whenever your opponent has an electric type. However, I did not carry Ampharos in this one. I have Whiscash and Breloom in the back, neither of which will be very good against an opposing Mantine. However, I know I have that Breloom in the back for the Ferrothorn, so I have no problem leaving Mantine in this mirror matchup, whether it wins or loses. My IVs on my Mantine aren't super great. I think it's in the 400 to 500 rank range. So you can see his here sitting at a nice clean 1500. Probably has pretty decent IVs, I would assume. So it is going to actually win out this matchup, even though I was a little bit ahead on energy. You'll see here my health is already starting to be lower than it, which is fine. I do have Breloom in the back that does not want to be anywhere near this Mantine because those wing attacks will be double super effective. So I'm fine keeping my Mantine in against it. Also, by doing this, Mantine stays away from the Ferrothorn, which is actually a positive matchup. So I was surprised in the beginning that he swapped away from that because Ferrothorn can actually win that matchup against it. Because whether it carries Thunder for double super effective or the Power Whip, which is neutral, it can do a lot of damage to the Mantine. However, because of that, I'm able to win back switch advantage with a shield. He's going to Power Whip me down. He doesn't want to get double debuffed by that. And I'm able to bring Breloom back in, and he has the Vespiquen in the back. Now, at this point, I'm still kind of worried. My Whiscash needs to take this matchup against this Vespiquen because I cannot afford to have it put up against my Breloom in the back. It's going to double resist my Seed Bomb from Breloom. It's going to double resist the Dynamic Punch from Breloom. It's basically a perfect counter in every way. So he has 2 shields at this point. I have 1. My only realistic, normal, what any normal sane person would do, hope of winning here is to double bait with Mud Bombs, get both his shields off Mud Bombs, somehow land a Blizzard, and then have my Breloom in the back to farm down. So why not just do the exact opposite of that? Why not just throw a Blizzard, see what happens, see if it gets a shield, or see if I can actually just not get the shield. He thinks I'm baiting and take it out. And as you'll see here, that is exactly what happens, and this Vespiquen goes down to 1 health. He messaged me after and said that it was a ballsy play, which made me feel quite good. Thankfully, Whiscash is going to get very low here, but I'm going to hit this triple resisted Mud Bomb against it, which with that tiny amount of health is still enough to take it out. This Ferrothorn is definitely going to farm me the whole way down. Those Bullet Seeds with the double super effective. But I'm able to get to 1 more Mud Bomb, which is nice. Surprised he didn't shield there, considering that I was just going to fast move him down no matter what. But he throws a charge move, but it's too late. Too little too late. Game 3, I lead Breloom into Vespiquen, so that perfect counter scenario that I did not want to see was exactly what happened. I'm going to bring out this Ferrothorn. He wasn't really carrying Blaziken in these games, so I wasn't super worried about it. These X's just do neutral. But he brings out his own Ferrothorn, which now, because of how much health my Ferrothorn has lost, his Ferrothorn will win that mirror matchup. They're both going to hit for not very effective damage with these flash cannons, but that's better than the alternative, which is Power Whip, which would hit for double resisted damage. As you can see there with that trailing edge of the bullet seed animation, I did very poorly with timing the charge moves here, so he kept getting off extra bullet seeds, so he has a lot more energy than me right now. He played the mirror matchup very well, whereas I didn't. And I make a poor decision here, which is double shielding this Ferrothorn against his Ferrothorn just to gain back switch advantage. I really needed my Whiscash to be up against his Vespiquen rather than my Breloom, so I had to get that switch advantage, which, I don't know. I understand my thought process there, but it probably would have been better to just let it go and then shield up my Whiscash instead. So obviously going to bring in my Whiscash here. Now I'm down a shield. He has his Whiscash in the back, which is good for me with the Breloom, obviously. So I'm going to throw this Seed Bomb so he can either choose to shield the Seed Bomb on his Whiscash or the Blizzard on his Vespiquen. And he chooses to shield up my Seed Bomb there, which allows him to get to the Blizzard. So now my Whiscash is up against his two almost full health Pokemon in the back and no shield, but up some energy, so that's good. I land the Blizzard, but he's able to get to the Mud Bomb. Not good at all for me. I'm now 2x Scissors away from death, including a couple Air Slashes from this Vespiquen. However, I have more than enough energy to get to this Blizzard. So Blizzard is going to deal massive damage on this Vespiquen. So we'll see if it's able to take it out. And it is not able to take it out. It lives on 1 HP. Oh, man. And it's able to hit that last X Scissor against me for him to take Game 3. Good games to him, though. He played very, very well. And then in round 4, I am up against My Name is Zam. He's an ace trainer. He was the 5th highest ranked trainer in this tournament. Very, very good player. He's running Azumarill, Blaziken, Ferrothorn, Kingdra, Galvantula, and then a pick that I did not expect to see here, Wormadam Trash. I'm sure any of you who played in Toxic Cup were hoping that you would never see this one again, but alas, it may be a player in Forest Cup as well. He actually won the tournament, so congratulations to him. He played very well. Game 1, he had a very, very strong lead call against me here, as you'll see. Wormadam into Breloom. At this point, I tried to bring in Sunny Castform because it is double super effective against the Wormadam, but he switches out into Kingdra, which is just simply a hard counter. It can farm the whole way down and not care, especially since my Sunny Castform does not have a second move. If I could play this differently, assuming that I had switched into Sunny Castform, I probably should have switched into Ferrothorn against his Wormadam Trash. That would have been smarter. With the Sunny Castform, though, I should have pretended to have the Solar Beam to at least threaten a shield. So he throws 2 back-to-back Dr. Zukas here, with that 50% chance to decrease your attack by 2 stages. And thankfully he only gets it once. This Power Whip is going to be enough with 1 more Bullet Seed to take it out. But he can bring in his Blaziken here, and this is just basically GG. He brings the Wormadam back in against my Breloom. He can just shield here. And then even if my Ferrothorn were somehow able to beat out the Wormadam Trash, it would have to deal with the Blaziken in the back, and that just was not going to happen. So here, I just let this Bug Buzz go through because I know that there's no chance of me winning. Game 2, I decided to lead Ferrothorn because although it's not a hard counter to Wormadam Trash, it has a good matchup against it. Something happened there where you can see the countdown just never happened. But I don't think it affected the matchup, so I was fine to just play it out. He sneaks an extra Bullet Seed through there, so he's up on energy on me, which is unfortunate. And he times his charge moves very well. His play was very, very clean. I don't know if I necessarily played poorly against him, but he had very good counters. Here, I try to be sneaky. My plan was to shield, to try to get him to shield, and then Power Whip to bait him into shielding. And then I would be up energy, but he does not shield this, and I just hit a very, very low damage Power Whip off onto this Ferrothorn. He sneaks another Bullet Seed in there. he snuck these in all over the place, which allows him to easily take this lead mirror matchup with the one shield. He hits this flash cannon, which allows him to now farm me down. I'm able to get to this power whip, or I could have been able to get to the power whip, but I went for the flash cannon instead, and unfortunately, he won CMP against me, which is surprising. I think my Ferrothorn has 6 or 7 attack IV, but I guess his must have more than that. So as you can see there, I brought Sunny Castform in to bring down the Ferrothorn, which he immediately swapped out into Kingdra, which, as we saw in the beginning, not a very good matchup. I switched Breloom in against the Kingdra, which can hit it for neutral damage, but he does switch into Blaziken, and normally, under ideal circumstances, they both counter each other down at the same time. But because he had the Dragon Breath damage on it from Kingdra, the Blaziken's actually able to beat me. I try to hit the Seed Bomb there, but it's just a little bit too late, and Breloom's going to go down to this Blaze Kick. At this point, Sunny Castform could come out, throw a Weather Ball. It doesn't really matter. Kingdra's going to come in and just absolutely destroy it. I don't have that Solar Beam there, and even if I did, he has a shield left. So at this point, not much point. He takes game 2 very cleanly, very well. So game 3, I tried to switch it up, bring a different team. I'd already lost the round, but worth it just to see what happens. So I lead Whiscash, and unfortunately he leads into Azumarill. Whiscash, I was trying to catch the Blaziken or the Kingdra lead, or Galvantula, or Wormadam Trash, honestly. Any lead except for Ferrothorn or Azumarill. And of course he changes things up too. I try to switch into Ferrothorn to catch the Hydro Pump that I was hoping was coming. No dice, and Blaziken is able to come in and just farm my Ferrothorn straight down. Not even going to be able to get to this Power Whip. He could have farmed down, but he does throw the Blaze Kick, which I'm just going to let go. I can bring Whiscash back in and farm it down. Maybe it would have been more smart to just farm it the whole way down, but I do throw this Mud Bomb, and now we're in pretty much the same situation we were whenever we started. Both Pokemon are very, very loaded. Azumarill throws the Ice Beam. He just needs to throw 2 charge moves to take out my Whiscash, so it's better to go for the lower energy one. I can throw 2 Mud Bobs off on this thing. This surprised me here. He does decide to shield. But I do know that Blaziken is out of the way, so my Breloom has a chance in the back if it's something like Kingdra or Ferrothorn that it can do well against. But it's not. It's the Wormadam. And so I just surrender here. There's not much point staying in that matchup because obviously fighters are not a big fan of confusion users. Round 5. Whoops, sorry about that. Round 5, I'm going to play against Lion's Den. He's an ace trainer, and he was the second highest ranked trainer in this tournament. Game 1, I'm going to lead Breloom because of its positive matchups against the Scavalier, Galvantula, Ferrothorn, Azumarill, depending on shield scenarios, and Cherrim if I expend a lot of shields. But yeah, just trying to catch one of those first 3 Pokemon in his lineup. His lineup, as you see there, is Scavalier, Galvantula, Azumarill, Ferrothorn, Mantine, and Cherrim Sunny. This is pre-Drill Run buff, so this Scavalier is strong, but it will be even stronger here in a couple of days whenever the new move changes come out. A little bit excited to try some of those new things, but as you see here, I get the worst possible lead scenario. Breloom into Mantine. Something very interesting here happens, though. I have Ferrothorn. No, sorry. I have Ampharos and Sunny Castform in the back. So here I could switch into Ampharos, which would demolish this Mantine. But it would leave him free to switch into a counter for Ampharos, like Ferrothorn or Cherrim Sun. So I don't want that to happen. So my goal here was to switch into Castform to sack it on his Mantine, and then bring out Ampharos to farm down. Hopefully bait that I had a Solar Beam against his Mantine. And then, I don't know. This is a really bad lead scenario to try to come back from. But you'll see something kind of crazy happens here. So obviously I'm immediately going to switch out, but I decided to switch into Castform to sack it. And he safe swaps Ferrothorn at the same time. I feel so bad for him. He got very unlucky there. He thought that an Ampharos was going to come out, or my own Ferrothorn was going to come out, and just gets completely trapped in this matchup. He's going to throw this flash cannon here. No matter what it throws at me, unless it has thunder, is going to be resisted. So I'll go ahead and throw this weather ball. I expend my energy just to finish it off. And then I expect Mantine to come back out to farm down this cast form. What I wanted to do here now in this scenario, even though I don't have Solar Beam, I wanted to build up as much energy as possible and hope that he, for some reason, thought that I had a Solar Beam, and maybe try to get the Slash Shield off of him. Solar Beam takes so much energy, and Ember just is not a great move as a fast move, so he knows that I don't have the Solar Beam. But now I'm able to bring in Ampharos, which gets 2-volt switches off on this Mantine before it leaves. He's going to switch out into Cherrim Sun. It has that Weather Ball, which will probably one-shot Breloom. So I'm going to devote both shields to this matchup, just because I think I can farm it down. As you can see there, it took 2 bullet seeds to get to that Weather Ball. So I think he still has extra energy. So I did kind of wimp out here, and I went for the Seed Bomb. Was kind of scared that he would be able to get to Weather Ball. Not that it matters, because it's Ampharos against Mantine in the back. But he can choose here to either shield the Seed Bomb and get Volt Switch down, or not choose to shield the Seed Bomb and then eat the Thunder Punch. So he chooses to not shield the Seed Bomb, which means that he can shield the Thunder Punch, but it doesn't matter. I'm 1 Volt Switch away from taking it out, and that'll be the game there. Even though I had that bad lead scenario, thankfully his poor switch allowed me to come back and take advantage of that matchup. I'm going to lead Breloom again, hoping for something other than Mantine, just because of how I went for him. And so he leads the Galvantula, which, as we saw in Game 2, Round 2, Game 1, is very, very strong lead scenario for me. However, he throws 4 Volt Switches, which means that he is now at a Bug Buzz, which means that my Breloom needs to shield that. He switch locks himself into Mantine, which probably not the best idea when he knows that I have Ampharos. Because of that, I'm able to bring in my Ampharos, and I can just farm this thing down. He's going to give me the attack debuff, but it's not that big of a deal. And then I see here that he brings in Galvantula, so I will just go ahead and throw this Thunder Punch because I don't want to have to use a shield there, or use my shield there. And he shields it. So that was a little bit of a weird scenario there. He shields that Galvantula even though it's very, very low health. So that tells me he has something in the back that does not want to handle this Ampharos. And so at this point, I'm guessing that he either has Azumarill or Ferrothorn in the back, which would fear the Ampharos in a low shield scenario. So I'm actually going to go ahead and shield up this as well, hoping that whatever he has in the back is going to be weak to it. After I farm it down, he throws the Bug Buzz there, and then switches immediately into Ampharos. Into his Azumarill. Shields up the first Thunder Punch, but I will get another one off before it's able to get this Ice Beam, and then I will bring in my Mantine. It's going to throw the Ice Beam instead of farming up energy just because these Volt Switchers are doing so much. I'm able to bring in Mantine here, and I don't know what his switch clock is at, but I do need to be afraid of this Galvantula coming in and somehow getting to a discharge. So you see me, after Azumarill throws this charge move, I'm going to open up my switch tray, just because I really do not want, this Galvantula to hit a move on my Mantine. And thankfully, by being preemptive, I'm able to catch that, barely not make it to the Seed Bomb, and this Azumarill is going to get one more move off, but it does not matter. Mantine could tank whatever this is, and that is GG. So that was my 4-1 run. Very strong players. Congrats to Hazam for winning it here. Oh, I'm sorry. There's still game 3 left. Obviously, I did win the first 2 games, but that is the end of the games that mattered. Kind of funny there. Game 2 and 1, I led Breloom both games. So I expected him to lead Mantine game 3 because it would counter that Breloom lead that beat him. So I lead the Ampharos just to try to counter the Mantine. It was already over at this point, but that was a little bit funny. Mantine has to fear the Solar Beam on this Cherrim. Solar Beam is such a high damage move that even in neutral scenarios like this, where otherwise this Cherrim gets walled, it has something to throw at it. However, I did not expect just how much damage this Solar Beam was going to do. It's already debuffed once by this Bubble Beam, but it still nearly takes me the whole way out. So I'm going to throw the Aerial Ace, which would kill it. However, he wants that switch advantage back because he does not win my Ampharos on his Mantine. So he shields here, and I was debating on shielding, but I thought that he could get the Bullet Seed farm down before I could get the Wing Attack farm down. So I just bring an Ampharos to get the extra energy. So he is running this double grass line here. So I always watch the typings in the upper hand corner now that they're there. They're very nice to see what's coming in before they actually come in. I lag there and only hit the Great, but I wasn't that worried about it. Mantine's able to farm the whole way down, and so he has a choice here again. He can either shield my Thunder Punch on the Mantine or the Focus Blast on the Ferrothorn. His only win condition right now is to call my bait and like maybe mirror shot bait me twice or something. I don't know. I just go straight Focus Blast because I know that with 2 shields I could probably still win that regardless. And I am able to, thankfully, at the end there. So as you'll see here, this is the tournament. Congratulations to Hazam for the win. He played very, very well, as you saw in our games. And because of all the top-ranked players that I faced, I was able to get second place with a Buko score of 17. Thank you all so much for watching. I'd appreciate you dropping a like. And I'm going to continue making content in the future, hopefully. So if you feel like subscribing, hopefully you can see that as well. Thank you.